Did BlackRock just back out of the XRP ETF? In this video, I want to talk about that as well as a very surprising motion out of the SEC in regards to the Ripple SEC case. Guys, yesterday I thought we had finalization that this case was over. In this video, I want to talk about that, so make sure to stick around for this whole thing. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like these videos and subscribe to the channel. These two simple things really do help me out so much. Also, if you have a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange uphold down in the description of this video. With that said, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoyed the content. So I want to start off and share something with you that I thought was extremely interesting, and I think it just goes to the ethos of the Bitcoin community and the XRP community. Earlier today, I saw a very interesting post out of Caitlin Long. Now, for those of you who don't know who Caitlin Long is, she is the CEO of a bank called Custodia, and recently came out and essentially said that Ripple doesn't have any adoption, XRP is centralized, and put a whole bunch of incorrect FUD into the market. Now, what I think is so interesting is a lot of people like this have very different worldviews for how the future financial system is going to play out. And I just thought this was such a great example of why I think these people are ultimately going to end up getting most of it wrong. Earlier today, she actually put out a post, or her lawyer or someone put out a post talking about how Caitlin Long has a patent that covers bank-issued stablecoins and plans to use it to prevent other banks from issuing stablecoins. Now, in my eyes, this whole idea is just so comical. Obviously, banks are going to issue stablecoins. Banks are going to have their own stablecoins. No patent by some nobody is ever going to stop a bank from issuing a stablecoin. What do we think? There's just going to be one stablecoin issued by Caitlin Long's bank, and that's going to be the only stablecoin banks can use? Of course not. It just goes back to this mentality that these Bitcoiners believe that the entire financial system is going to be surrounded around them, and they're going to have full control and down with these banks and legacy financial institutions. These legacy financial institutions have trillions of dollars under management. There's absolutely no way some silly patent is going to stop these financial institutions from creating their own dollar-denominated units, nor should a patent prevent them from doing it. These people, these Bitcoiners, talk about freedom and having the ability to do whatever you want and not have the controls of government. Meanwhile, they're literally preventing the usage of a decentralized neutral technology to tokenize dollar-denominated units and create stablecoins. And I just think this idea that Bitcoin is going to take down all these things and we're going to prevent them from taking a leap into the future of finance is just so silly. Clearly, banks want to tokenize their deposits. They want to get involved in stablecoins. They want to tokenize more forms of value and move it over to distributed ledger technology. And it just seems like this mindset being put out there by some of these people is so divulged from how the real world is going to work. Clearly, they are going to look to create their own systems, their own stablecoins, and they're going to work on the public decentralized ledgers that a lot of you and I already know about. Ripple has taken a completely different approach. It's like, hey, let's go work with these banks and figure out how to build out their business and bring it into the crypto economy. And I just think this ethos has always been a core differentiator from how Bitcoin people see the world versus XRP people. The Bitcoin people think that they're just going to take down all these financial institutions and everything's going to cease to exist and all business is going to be done in Bitcoin and patents are going to stop Bank of America from creating a stablecoin. Meanwhile, people on the Ripple and XRP side of things say, hey, all of these banking institutions are going to need help rolling out these new upgraded products and services. Let's work with them and build them bridges to access this new economy. I've never really understood this world of thinking that the entire system was going to collapse under a Bitcoin standard. And every single day we move further and further away from the truth. I just think this is just a very important example of showing the difference in thinking. And I think I just become more and more aligned with the Ripple strategy of looking to upgrade the system rather than trying to take it down with patents that are never going to go anywhere anyway. With that said, I want to move on and talk about an update in the Ripple SEC case because I know a lot of people are probably thinking, I thought this case was over. Well, guys, take a look at this. This is actually fantastic news. The SEC actually just put in a motion today saying that anything that it was involving them calling Ripple a bad actor and any kind of motions they put out there stating that Ripple shouldn't be able to raise money in private equity markets or Ripple shouldn't be able to interact with investors. All the things and internal policies the SEC put forth because they were in a lawsuit against Ripple, calling Ripple a bad faith participant, has just been completely removed. The SEC essentially said, all of this is garbage. We should have never done this. This entire case was a joke. And John Deaton weighs in and says, This now essentially makes it so the entire fine and the entire lawsuit and every injunction and all this stuff put against Ripple is pretty much not even there anymore. So this, in my opinion, makes this an unequivocal win for Ripple in this case. Not only did they get clarity that XRP was not a security, but the SEC just redacted and took away any single win they scraped out of the case. I think the case probably went 90-10 in favor of Ripple, and the SEC just gave up their last 10%, saying, you know what? We should have never done this. Take it. We are going to completely walk back every single win we got and just say, this was a huge win for Ripple. Anything we did, we didn't deserve anyway. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. A lot of people really weren't paying attention to how much Ripple and the SEC are in fact on the same side now. This new SEC wants to see Ripple succeed. They're not going to let weird injunctions or things done by past SEC officials hold Ripple back. It seems like the SEC wants Ripple to be in full steam ahead and is going to do whatever they can to make sure Ripple is a successful company in the United States. The fact that this is where this industry has developed into in comparison to where we came from, guys, not even a year ago today, is absolutely shocking. So the case is officially over now. The SEC has walked back their win. XRP stays with clarity that is not a security. The win couldn't get much bigger than this. And I talked about this in my video last night, but it just goes to show how many people got it completely wrong. The amount of people saying that Ripple would never survive this case, that it will get overturned on appeal, XRP will ultimately be a security. Oh, well, when Ripple's selling to institutions, that's a security. All of these things didn't pan out. It just turned out that we were right the entire time. XRP is not a security. Ripple has all the leeway they need to run their business in the United States exactly how they want to. And this essentially just proved to be an audit showing that Ripple has been a responsible and good actor in the cryptocurrency space since day one. I can't tell you how important that is going to be for Ripple landing higher level partnerships later down the road. Any person is going to be able to look at this and you say, you know what? There is no question that this company has been doing everything right, because after a 5-year-long investigation, the SEC walked away with nothing except their hands in their pockets. I think it's such an important thing that really goes understated in terms of a win for Ripple. They got what they needed on XRP clarity, and everything else fell in their direction. I want to finish this video off and talk about something that I believe is extremely interesting, which is this BlackRock XRP ETF news. So we all know that about a year and a half ago now, there was a fake BlackRock XRP ETF filing. Now, since then, there's been a lot of speculation on when is BlackRock ultimately going to file this XRP ETF. And recently today, there was actually a spokesperson for BlackRock who came out and said that BlackRock currently doesn't have any plans for an XRP or Solana ETF. Now, in my opinion, this is nothing more than them just saying, we are not going to tell you right now. The fact of the matter is the head of digital assets at BlackRock, or the director, is going to Ripple Swell. So there's clearly a high degree of interest from BlackRock in Ripple and XRP. And this doesn't really say much of anything other than saying they do not have plans right now. Now, they say they don't have plans to launch it. Doesn't mean they haven't done all the work to launch it and they're just not planning on launching it right this second. Overall, I think a lot of people are overreacting to this news. There is no way BlackRock is going to sit on the sidelines and miss having an XRP ETF. They're simply going to be left in the dust. And with the amount of people at BlackRock on different levels of Ripple's board and members of previous Ripple employees on BlackRock's board and BlackRock going to Ripple Swell, I just think it's total insanity to think that this thing ultimately doesn't get over the finish line. It's so funny. No one wants to trust the things BlackRock say, and then this thing comes out, everyone's like, oh, they're not filing it. Guys, they will file it. Maybe it won't be the first one out there. We'll see. But I find it extremely, extremely non-probable that they are going to move forward and just miss this segment of the market. Makes absolutely no sense. These ETFs are going to be extremely commoditized products. If they're not one of the first people launching the ETF, they're going to miss out on all the volume, all the AUM, and everyone else is already doing it. They're simply going to lose the race on one of the top cryptocurrencies in the entire market. going to look especially silly if XRP ultimately flips Ethereum and they're just sitting now on the first largest cryptocurrency and the third largest. I don't think there's any way that's going to take place. I think BlackRock ultimately will file for the XRP ETF, and I think a lot of people are just reading too much into a statement that said they don't have plans to do it at this moment. Clearly, that's what they're going to say. They don't want the market to front run anything. They're going to want it to be a surprise when it comes out. And I once again think that they will file it right before the ultimate decision is made that these things will go live. Thank you so much for coming. I hope everyone has a great weekend. And for now, Mickle out.